I have a question for you. How often are you testing your own resiliency in life? Know thyself here. Please take this opportunity to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell so you stay up to date on all of my content when I release it. So today I want to talk to you guys about the idea of being resilient, about testing your life, testing yourself to see how resilient you are. And for me, the definition of resiliency is your inability to give up, or and the better way of putting it is your ability to keep going. How many times do we see people who we come in contact with, maybe friends, family members, relationship partners, who start something and don't see it through? I can be completely honest with you and say that there have been times where I have started something and then I have stopped. I have seen things through, and then I have some things where I've done and I just, for lack of a better way of putting it, I gave up on it. But when you are trying to do something positive with your life, you have to test your resiliency. You have to see how tough and resilient and persistent and dedicated you actually are to the goal that you set. Now, there's a couple of ways that this can happen. One of the first ways is just to try and do something. If you try to do something, this is how you'll know if it's a goal worthwhile. What's the level of resistance that you have to overcome in the pursuit of said goal? If the level of resistance is low, it's probably not a goal worth pursuing. If the resistance is high, there's a good chance that this is something that's worth doing. But you got to make up your mind, and you have to agree with yourself that you have to keep pushing forward. You have to make that agreement and make that commitment to keep pushing forward. Because let's be honest, life is going to throw things at you. The second you decide to do something, literally that's when all hell breaks loose. That's when people that you thought you could depend on go away. Systems that you thought you could use, they don't work anymore. Certain goals that you set, maybe benchmarks that you're shooting for, you can't seem to hit them. You go to make the phone calls, people don't pick up. You go to close the deal, people don't show up. Things happen on the pursuit to a goal, and that's going to be the normal way that you can test your resiliency. The second way you can test your resiliency is by putting yourself into difficult situations, putting yourself into challenging situations, and then noticing how you fare, noticing how you do. How do you perform in those challenging situations? One of the easiest ways that you can test your resiliency in life is by doing things that are difficult in your normal everyday life. For example, let's say that you like to go to the gym. Let's say you don't like to go to the gym. One of the easiest ways to test your resiliency in business or in family or in relationships or with your friends or with your coworkers is to go to the gym, because it's going to take you a long time to get your gym goals in order. You're going to have to go to the gym for years. You're going to have to be resilient. You are going to have to work through adversity. You're going to have to push through the days that you don't want to go. Even if it's something as working out every day at home. If that's what your agreement is, there's going to be days where you don't feel like it. There's going to be days where things hurt. There's going to be days where you didn't get enough sleep the night before. And this is your opportunity to push through that difficult, that minor goal, that minor setback, and push through to the other side. And when you do this, when you either intentionally put roadblocks in your way or intentionally set up resistance in your way to test it, this trains the mind for when things are randomly and unintentionally placed in your way, meaning things just happen. You are going to have bad days. You're going to have rain. You're going to have terrible weather. You are going to have people who say they're going to do something and they don't do it. You're going to have people who agree to help and they don't. You're going to have business partners that fall off, relationships that don't go the way you want them to go, friendships that end when people think you might be about to do better than them. And you have to have the mental fortitude in order to say, that's what that is. I acknowledge that it's not going the way I want to, but I'm still going to continue to move forward. This is important in your life. If you want to achieve anything outside of yourself that is worth anything, the very first thing you have to do is figure out where it is you're going. How do you want to get there? What are the component pieces and parts that you need to identify, and then start executing those parts one by one and checking them off your list and moving towards the goal. But too many of us are, let's just be honest, too many people are lazy. Too many people are satiated, comfortable with pleasure. Too many people see life as something that's supposed to be easy. And while there should be easy parts, it's my belief you weren't put here to live an easy life. Your offsprings, your relatives, your parents, your nieces and nephews, they get to live the easy life. You are supposed to be working. You are supposed to be making a way out of no way. You are supposed to be pushing through the limiting beliefs in your mind, pushing through the physical barriers in front of you, pushing through the obstacles, whether they be real or imagined. You are supposed to be pushing through all of that to the other side to make things happen. People who are around you should benefit from the hard work that you put in. You shouldn't just benefit because society wants to make things easy. And let's be honest, the normal default way is to do the bare minimum, get the bare minimum results, and be happy with that. That is normally how most people will operate their lives. But if you want to make an impact in your life, if you want the people around you to live an easier life, you have to be the one that puts in the work. You have to be the one that gets up, does the thing that you don't want to do, does the thing that 99% of the people around you won't do, so that you can have the resources for yourself and then the excess resources to spread around to those around you. So consider testing the resiliency of your life. Consider testing. When I think about testing, one of the things that comes to mind is the idea of driving a car or buying a car or the manufacturing of a car. When you think about when a car is getting built, they don't just build the car, take it off the manufacturing line, send it to the dealership. They test it. They test the engine, they test the tires, they test the frame, they turn the car on, they kick the tires, they give the car a once over, they test it to make sure that it meets the standards that are the company policy standards for what this car is supposed to do before they ship it off to the dealer to be sold to you. You should think about your life in exactly the same way. Are you testing your engine? Are you testing your your spirit? Are you testing the physical limitations, your mental limitations? Are you giving yourself a once over before you go to market, before you go out there into the world? Are you making sure that you are good enough for you? One of the key words that I threw out there was standards. Standards, policies. You can't send a car out to the dealership unless it meets certain standards. You in your life should have a same set of standards. You should have standards. You should have boundaries. You should have a guiding principle, and you should have morals. By having standards, what does that do? That means that now you have a list of qualifications and prerequisites that you have to meet for you. You push yourself to meet these pre-qualifications for you. You say to yourself, I don't move until I do X, Y, and Z. I don't put myself out into the world until I have done this. I have done my spiritual practice. I've done some physical practice. I have read some books. I've learned some things. I'm training my mind. I'm growing myself. This is what I do. I try to work out every day. I read, I chant, I meditate. I try to grow, watch some inspirational videos, something that gets me ready so that when I interact with the world, I am the best possible that I can be mentally. So when you consider the idea of resiliency, I want you to think about, how is it that you're going to test yourself? What are your standards? Do you have standards? If you don't have standards, you need to adopt standards for your life. What will you not accept? Not only from other people, but what will you not accept, and what will you accept from yourself? Develop a set of standards, develop boundaries, develop guidelines, develop principles of how you want to live your life day to day. When you wake up in the morning, before you go to sleep at night, and all throughout the day, how do you interact with people? When you develop a set of standards and you have a guiding principle and philosophy for how you want to interact with your life, when either you put the resiliency test on yourself or life puts the resiliency test on you just by the way things naturally happen, you'll be much more prepared to move through, push through, and make things happen regardless of what's going on. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into my content. Please hit the like, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell.